Good morning, you wonderful YouTubers. Welcome to my channel. You currently find me going through Rowner in Gosport. This is my old stomping ground as I was growing up. To the left is mostly naval buildings, and to the right was council buildings back in the day. But however, most of them have now been bought up, as was my mum's. And yeah, it's a nice little neighbourhood around here. Not bad at all. We've got Rowner shops coming up. I remember as a lad I used to shop there all the time in the newspaper shop, get the sweeties. Yeah, great fun. My cricket ground's on the left. Every Sunday I would pop over just to watch, maybe help with the sandwiches and things. Fabulous. And I remember my dad sitting me outside the Green Dragon here. Green Dragon pub. I'd sit outside, he'd bring me out. I only lived just across the road, but he'd bring me out a bag of crisps, sit me on the doorstep there, and I'd have to wait for him to come back out again, which was often a couple of hours. Yeah, so that's where I was brought up around here. I don't say brought up, but kind of dragged up really. I've put in a random route on my sat-nav. This time I'm going to follow it. The last video I put out, I just changed my mind within a couple of miles and went up Ports Downhill. Today I'm following it, which is why it's bringing me along here, or I don't know why it's bringing me along here, it just is. And we'll see what comes up. I do know it's taking me up into the South Downs, but where exactly I'm not quite sure. So what's been happening? Well, yesterday I had two of my grandsons to look after. I consider that a great honour and privilege. They're wonderful boys, mostly well behaved, but they do try pushing their luck once in a while, but didn't we all as kids? And they were absolutely lovely to look after. We had a lot of fun. My youngest daughter came down for the night to stay over with her partner, and yeah, it was lovely to see them both. This week's history is another motorbike history, because I've kind of almost run out of local things to do. So it's going to be the Zenith motorcycle company, which I'm hoping will be interesting for you, so we'll see how that goes. One thing I noticed this morning, I have to do a bit of a chain service on this bike, so I may do that when I get home, and give it a good scrubbing, a good oiling, and see what's what. Sun's shining off the sat nav, I can't see it. It's grey on. I don't know if you can see it. To the left there is the statue of Daedalus, the winged, whoever, the winged man. I think it's a marvellous statue. Lots of people don't like it. I think it's great. So that to my left is Solent Airport. It used to be HMS Ariel. I think it was Ariel, and then it became Daedalus, and they used to do the field gun crew training in there for HMS Daedalus, and I used to stand there as a young lad watching it. That was brilliant. So fit, those guys, they really were. I haven't seen one for a while. I believe they still do it, but I'm not sure how often now. One of them told me, because when I got older and I could go out to the pubs and things, I got talking to them, and one of the lads that did it told me that at least 2 fingers go missing every performance. That's a bit shocking, to say the least. Now this guy definitely wants to get in front of me. Zoom, zoom. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to let you enjoy the ride and what you're going to see of it at least, and I know I certainly will, and we'll get on with the history quite soon. Enjoy.
Mentioned earlier, this week's motorbike history is the British motorcycle and automobile manufacturer Zenith Motorcycles, which was established in Finsbury Park in London in 1903 by W.G. Bowers. They started with a car manufacturer which only lasted for 1 year, and ironically the first Zenith motorcycle was called the Bi-Car, which was based on Thule's Bi-Car design, which was purchased by Zenith for its own production. The Bi-Car was a unique design with a hub-centered steering and low-slung chassis with a centrally fixed Fafner engine from Germany. Fred W. Barnes was hired as chief engineer in 1905 and patented the Gradua variable ratio belt drive transmission that year. The Gradua system simultaneously changed the diameter of the crankshaft belt drive pulley to alter the drive ratio while moving the rear wheel forward and backwards to maintain belt tension. The Gradua's action was controlled by a rotating lever atop the fuel tank and was among the first attempts to provide multiple drive ratios for a motorcycle, at a time when very simple direct belt drive transmissions was the industry norm. Variable drive ratios proved a significant advantage in competition, leading riders of other brands who started to complain that Gradua gave an unfair advantage. Eventually, Zenith motorbikes with Gradua gears were banned from many competitions. Zenith capitalised on this ban, adding the word "barred" to their advertising and logo. The Gradua system was replaced by the now standard gearbox and chain transmission in 1924. In 1914, the factory moved to larger premises, quite close to the Brooklands racetrack, which was just 5 miles away, at the old East Moseley Mill, about halfway between East Moseley and Esher. As World War I became a long-term prospect, the factory turned its attention to commercial sidecar outfits, presumably to replace the horses commandeered by the military. They also produced machine gun sidecars for the military, and after World War I, racing and endurance trials occupied much of Freddie Barnes' interest. Zenith Motorcycle used engine from various suppliers including Precision, Villiers, Bradshaw, Martlet, British Azani, Fafnir and Jap. Zenith was a relatively small manufacturer but had significant success in speed contests throughout the teens and 1920s. Chief engineer Freddie Barnes personally oversaw Zeniths in competition, and in the 1920s, Racing Zeniths held more gold stars on the Brooklands racing circuit for the 100 plus miles per hour laps in competition than any other company. Racing engines of single and V-twin configuration included the most advanced designs available, including the Dock single-cylinder Jap, the twin-cam Jap side valve V-twin, the Martlet OHV 1000cc V-twin, the Blackburn OHV 1000cc V-twin, and the Jap K-Tour and J-Tour overhead valves 1000cc V-twins. The letters K-Tour and J-Tour are both part of the serial numbers. For instance, K-Tour means the 980cc Racing V-twin, which had an 85.7 by 85mm bore, and the J-Tour is a 998cc Racing V-twin, which had the 80 by 99mm bore. Riders included Ten Baragwanath, Bert Levac, Owen Baldwin, H. M. Walters and Joe Wright. In 1931, Zenith declared bankruptcy due to the Depression. However, a firm called Writers of Kennington, which was a principal Zenith dealer, purchased the name and restarted production at the Hampton Court factory in Surrey on the River, and immediately adjacent to the Hurst Park horse racing venue. The Second World War interrupted production again, and unable to recover, Zenith finally ceased production in 1950, leaving behind a motorcycle world speed record of 124.55 miles per hour, which was set in 1928 by Owen Baldwin in Appogon, France. I'd like to do now is run through Zenith's catalogue of models so you can get a better idea of their achievements, style and progression. As I've already mentioned, in 1903 they introduced the Bi-Car powered by a Fafnir single-cylinder engine, a weird looking contraption, but it was followed a few years later in 1908 with the Tri-Car, which was again powered by the same Fafnir engine, and the same year saw the Zenith with the same engine. And in 1911 the Gradua was brought out with the new variable drive belt system, which was soon outlawed for racing. This was followed in 1913 by the 3.5 horsepower Jap single-cylinder side-valve 500cc machine. In the same year they produced the lightweight version that came in at 250cc. In 1913 Zenith brought out the 8 horsepower twin-cylinder racer and the single-cylinder version at 3.5 horsepower. At the start of World War I they bring out the models E, G and J, and in 1918 they added the new version of the Gradua with the Jap twin 680cc machine. In 1922 they brought out the Zenith Bradshaw, which had an oil-cooled 494cc engine. The horizontally opposed Bradshaw engine, which although rated at 494cc, was referred to as the Bradshaw 500. Then in 1923 Zenith added the Brooklands to the collection, and this had the 344cc Jap engine, which in 1924 was followed by the 346cc Jap, and in 1926 the 680cc Jap side valve engine. It then went quiet for a few years until 1936 when they introduced the C5 Special with the 500cc OHV Jap engine, now sporting a teardrop saddle tank, and finally in 1948 they bring out the 750cc Jap engine model, a beautiful bike by anyone's standard. Zenith finally ceased production in 1950, and there are still many of their bikes in collectors' hands, as you've seen by the photograph. That's it for this week's history. I hope you found it interesting. Next week there may not be a post, as I'm hoping to get to the Sammy Miller Museum and speak to Sammy himself, so I'm looking forward to that. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks very much for watching. In the meantime, until I'm on again, do be safe, and when you go out for a ride, make sure you get back home again. Until next time, bye for now.